brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking hosts, the good old boys. Suds, Suds, Suds. It's time for more Suds.
Welcome, everyone, to this yet another special Suds segment where good beer meets really bad radio.
About freaking time.
Exactly.
Wow. Mike must be back.
I'm thinking so.
I'm freaking right here.
I'm your hostess, good old gal Julieanna, and with me today are good old boy Dave.
I touch myself to Tom Brady.
Do you now?
Sorry, I don't know, that just slipped out.
Good old boy Mike.
Yeah, where's my clicker? That's what I'm talking about. That thing that goes ding.
And good old boy Kendall.
It's wonderful to be here.
Wow, that was so lame. Ha.
I don't do accents very well.
I think that was just perfect.
Are you saying that people in Boston have an accent?
Not at all. They talk like normal people, right?
Right. I would never call a Red Sox fan normal.
Better than the Yankees fan.
Cool. We just got banned from the whole state there, Dave.
Hey.
Banned once again.
Absolutely, you know. I knew it was going to happen early.
God bless. Well, Kendall has an excellent blog, and he will tell us all about it later in the show. Yay. Today's episode is a brewery takeover. Yay. Brewery takeover.
So does that mean we're just going to like drink beer at a brewery all day long?
What do you twos want from the packy? A handle, 30 rack what?
We're going to be trying several beers today from Trillium Brewing in Boston,
About
Massachusetts.
freaking time.
Exactly.
Settle down, buddy.
He's been in Boston too long.
Hey, good old boy Mike, since you picked these beers up for us while traveling in New England, why don't you tell us a bit about the Trillium?
Absolutely. So I go across the toll, went to the 3, went to the 5, or went off at exit 42. Boom, right there. You know, I'm at Trillium. Yeah. So Trillium Brewing Company was established to commemorate the marriage of founders J.C. and Esther Tetro. Trillium opened in 2013 with the support of family, volunteers, 2 babies, and 3 employees. This small, simple brewery has since developed into an exciting venue of collaboration and innovation. Trillium is a New England farmhouse-style brewery, deeply rooted in the dynamic landscapes, abundant natural resources, and resilient population of the region. The flagship location is tucked in the vibrant Fort Point neighborhood of South Boston. I just could not actually brave the traffic and all the parking to actually go and visit that particular location yet.
Now,
So,
Ben or Yui, get on the rotary, take Route 3 to Route 95, get on the pike, and you're there.
yeah, right. That's exactly it. So in December 2015, Trillium opened a secondary facility in Canton, Massachusetts. This expansive facility has a capacity of 35,000 barrels. There are fermenters everywhere, soaring to the ceilings, and barrels galore in this place. The star of this show at the Canton location is the bottling and canning plants that just churn and burn in an ample supply to serve those that can actually make the journey there to Canton. They actually keep their products on tap at about some 50-odd places, kind of local to, the east side of Massachusetts, although they do get all the way out to Worcester with some distribution that they have at about another 50 retail locations. By the way, I have to say that Worcester has one of the coolest Union train stations that I've seen in a town that small. It has like this big barrel, vault ceiling. It's just this amazing piece of architecture. It's definitely when you drive into Worcester, you're going, yeah, what's that? That doesn't belong there.
Wow.
So yeah, and the train the T does run all the way out there to Worcester as well. So
cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah,
Nice.
So they've actually been moving through some changes since they've moved into the Canton facility. They've been moving in between bottles and cans, some of their product line. And the retail channel distribution has kind of suffered a little bit and alienated a few of their locals, that got used to buying the beer.
Don't make them like the Kennedys no more.
They don't. So, they've had to kind of swing around and actually commit to a long-term relationship with a lot of the retail partners so that they can keep, certain product lines, always moving through the area. So,
Yeah.
I know it's been a bit of a tough wait, I think, for some of the stores, and I actually have heard quite a bit of that frustration firsthand, and I think it's going to change, rather quickly here. They definitely have capacity out of the Canton facility to do some amazing things. So, well, one of the things that I noticed at the Canton facility is they have a really great tap room, and I think if if I had to offer up a good tip, hang on a second. I had to clear my throat. I had to give a really good tip here. Go to the Canton facility. As much as I know that a lot of people want to make their way, into the Fort Point location, it's just a little easier, I think, to navigate there. And a lot of the beers are more prevalent out of the Canton facility, right now as well. So, definitely take advantage of the tap room. When you walk in, I don't know how many taps they had, maybe 20.
Wow.
And they end up carrying a lot of things that sometimes are just, one-off. A lot of their collaboration pieces are only in the tap room. Great view of the brewery itself, once you're just sitting there in the tap room.
Oh, wow.
My motto is you can't drink all day unless you start early.
Yep, that's exactly right. When I was there in the tap room last time, I'd actually had the collaboration they did with Vail.
Wow.
And was really marginally unimpressed with that beer. So
Marginally unimpressed?
Yeah.
So you were on the verge of being impressed.
on the verge of being impressed because they did a collaboration with Vail, but the beer just didn't
quite make
born
it
out to that. But it was still very cool, I've seen a lot of very interesting products. Also at the tap room I was there, they had the cask version of one of the beers that we had today, the oatmeal porter, the pot and kettle. So
I bet that was good.
yeah. It was really cool to try to, enjoy that on cask. And I would tell you, after you leave there, go down to the Public House in Brookline. A really great place. I might even actually hit some of our Good Sippin' Zone nominees. It was that good.
Oh, wow.
They have some really great stuff on tap. Actually, they have a version of a Trillium beer that is for the Public House.
Nice.
Really?
So, yeah, it is.
Sounds good.
It is. So it's pretty cool. So last tip is be sure and bring a cooler when you go and pick up beer at the Canton. A lot of the beers we're going to talk about today have a lot of hop in them, and they have hop oil that is actually part of a lot of their beers, and they're very sensitive to temperature. And I would say more temperature fluctuation, but mainly to heat more than anything else. So
Keep them
what's
cool.
wrong with me?
Well, Mike, that's something we've been discussing for quite a while.
Yeah. You know what? If I has a Hummer right now, I'd probably be just fine. So.
I think you're probably in bad shape then.
Wow.
Any takers? Any takers at the table?
All right.
Whoa.
Well, thanks.
Sorry, nobody's
Mike,
jumping
for
up to
that.
help you there, Mike.
Yeah.
Now, Dave, you're wearing the gear that makes me feel like I'm getting that loving feeling already today. So Kendall and I are sitting here, and we're not going to tell you what the date is or exactly what happened. All I got to say is we're the losers sitting at the table.
It was a tough day
It
yesterday.
just sucked.
So how is
That's all
that
I have
different
to
from
say.
any other time?
I am not going to say. My team is victorious almost 75-34. Is that right? Is that what I said? Something like that.
Yes,
So,
but it's not 76-33.
man, I just can't believe what happened, in football.
I think I recorded it. We could watch it after the show if you
negative,
want.
no. A negative ghostwriter. That pattern is full. So,
All All right. Well, thanks for that, Mike. That was very highly entertaining.
I would be entertained.
Yeah, I used hand gestures during that as well.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Many.
works well on radio.
Yeah, it does. Good old boy Kendall, why don't you give us a rundown of the beers that we're going to be covering today?
Here's today's lineup of almost double IPA heavy lineup, but it's a very good one. We're going to start in first with the Dialed In Double IPA. The Dialed In series usually has some wine juice added, so this is brewed with Pinot Gris juice. Next up is the Dialed In Double IPA, brewed with Chardonnay and
Gewurtztraminer.
Gewurtztraminer?
Yeah.
Okay, Gewurtztraminer.
Give me my
dog?
clicker till I show you how to say it.
Yeah, we should have probably talked about that
Somebody
before I tried
squeezed
to
a
say
small dog into this beer.
Gewurtztraminer. We have the Vicinity Double IPA, the Cutting Tiles Double IPA with mosaic and raw wildflower honey. And a totally different take, we've got the Pot and Kettle Oatmeal Porter, which is definitely not a double IPA. Next up is the Melcher Street Double Dry Hopped IPA, which is not a double IPA, even though it's got double in the name. I'm guessing it's dry hopped 2 times with that double IPA, double dry hopped IPA. And finally, we have the Scaled Single American IPA. So we've got a great selection of double
don't
IPAs
forget
here.
that last minute.
That's right. We have one that didn't make the list, which is the Summer Street
Double dry hopped IPA.
which is the double dry hopped IPA. A lot of doubles.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of doubles.
streets.
Yeah, a lot of streets too.
So we get to say double all day
Double.
long.
Yeah.
Double beer.
Double.
Well, we'll be right back, guys, as we talk about these beers.
Rolling clouds and crashing surf. Iridescent dunes reflecting by the light of a rising, glowing moon. Seashore mesmerizing, night breeze hypnotizing. We've come across these back roads none too soon. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling. Wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows. My hand is yours forever, sweet love.
Welcome back, everyone. Today's episode, again, for those of you that are just tuning into us, is a brewery takeover with Trillium Brewery in Massachusetts. So we just finished going over what we're going to talk about today, but now we need to talk about the ratings for today. And
About freaking time.
exactly. So, good old boy Mike, in your best local accent.
Went over, I talked to Tommy for a second. He told me I got to do this.
Let me give you some inspiration first.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen The Real Housewives of South Boston?
He looks just like Tom Brady.
Hey, while you're at Stop and Shop, would you mind swinging by Dunkies and getting your mother a chocolate cruller?
I think it's wicked trashy.
Oh, my heart aches.
I run on Dunkin'.
And don't forget the tonic.
Oh, my friggin' directionals are busted.
All right, Mike, you've got your marching orders. Let's see what you can do.
I'm going to go get my freaking clicker, get on with this. We'll be discussing and tasting these beers with these suds ratings. All used are going to be used in signature belching sounds. So here it is. Number 1, that sucks. Give me anything but a bud. Like I'd be saying that after, the guy did the thing at the water thing off the Route 3, okay? Was that a belch? Number 2. Tommy, help me count here. 1, 2, 3. What's wrong with you? Freaking moron. Number 3. Every time I get a Hummer, I say this. What a relief.
To date, he's never said that.
Number 4. Every time they come over to me, they say, a body should really not make that sound. Number 5, I say this every time Poppy stepped up to the plate. Listen to that hang time. Give me another one of those.
Wow.
Well done.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. A double 5. I like that. Thank you. I appreciate that, Dave.
Needed some extra relief.
Yeah. I'm almost ready to quit my day job. I could get hired in Boston and offend people within the 6-state region. So.
I'd wait a little while.
Okay.
I could see that. Wow.
Don't get to the freaking beer.
Oh, God, yes. Good old boy Dave, why don't you start us off and talk about your favorites?
Holy moly. Okay, so the first beer I want to talk about.
Wait, why does he get to go first wearing that outfit for the wrong team?
Winners.
Okay, all right. I see how this goes.
Rough day, Mike.
Just not. I know. Just like that. Walked into the bullet twice.
Yeah. Hey. So the number one beer I want to talk about in the flight is the one I know the least about because it was a bit of a surprise, but it's the Summer Street.
Wait, you know something, but it's not the least. I am completely lost. Do you actually know anything about this beer, Dave?
It sounds like a Sesame Street
I know
skit.
I like it.
Freaking lost.
I know that it was made in New England and it was dry hopped twice. And if this beer was a college football team, it would not be yours because it's a winner.
Man. Wow. This is going to be a long episode.
This is going to take a while.
Yeah.
Anyways, I felt like what I wrote about this was a prototypical New England IPA. It's turbid, it's citrusy and delicious, and I gave Summer Street a 5.
Wow. So, I'll talk about it in a second. You keep going. There's a little bit more background on this particular beer.
Next.
Oh, okay. Well,
you had more than one you liked, I think.
Well, you were. I'm going to talk about this for a while too. So
No. I'll cover it when I get to it.
Fine. My second beer, my top 3 was Vicinity. And that beer is great because I really like the combination of Galaxy, Citra, and Columbus, and that's something really cool these guys do. I noticed that a lot of their malt bills are pretty similar, but they do a really great job of mixing up the hop selection, and I'm sure they change up their hop scheduling too. This one, it was just a very well done beer, good flavor and aroma. So it was just a solid beer all the way through. And I gave Vicinity a 4.
And your last one.
Hold on, I'm still tasting Vicinity.
Oh, okay.
So, last one. There's so much pressure on the show. You guys don't realize how much pressure there is to perform.
I know he's cognitively challenged wearing that outfit. So,
what's funny is my team could not only beat yours at football, but at a spelling bee too. So,
like I freaking care.
So the third one of my top 3, and you'll notice that I am just doing 3 in my top 3, unlike some of what my co-hosts are probably going to do, is the Melcher Street double dry hop. Melcher or Melcher?
Yeah, I've said it wrong enough, trust me. It's Melcher.
Well, you said Melcher earlier, so...
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for setting me up for failure there, Mike.
Bing!
Melcher Street is a double dry hopped IPA with Mosaic and Columbus. Mosaic is, as everyone knows, the king of all hops. And this just really let the Mosaic come through very well. Good, clean malt bill. Not overly complicated. Well done. I gave Melcher Street a 5.
Wow. Dave liked these. Davey, like you?
Me like you.
Why, thank you very much, sir. Moving on. Oh.
Sorry, I'm having
extra.
some issues.
That's for sure.
Good old boy Mike, why don't you talk about your top 3 picks?
So the first thing I'm going to talk about is Summer Street, because Dave didn't talk about it right. It's not summer. It's summer. Where you from? You're a Vandy fan. That's what it is.
So summer rhymes with
Tom Brady, instant hummer.
Yeah,
summer,
that's right.
hummer. So you have to say it like that.
It's Melcher Street. I don't know what you were saying.
Damn it, you just said Melcher.
I know. I'm saying it right. You were saying it wrong.
I hate you so much right now.
It's because you're wearing that outfit. Okay, so Summer Street. Really, this beer was it was a beer that they made seasonally in the summer, but they ended up making it several times. So I don't know if they make this every year, kind of through some of the warmer periods, in the Massachusetts area, but
They have those in Massachusetts?
They do, all 6 weeks. Really fabulous beer, super balanced. I wrote down citrus, very dry finish, creamy, earthy nose, and malt were just all around fabulous beer. My SUDS rating is 5 for this. I would give that a Hama.
Run away, Summer Street. Run away.
Next up was another similar beer that Dave picked as well, even though he mispronounced it like 5 freaking times. So you can't say Melcher right.
See, now you've said it like 3 different ways.
I know. It's, I'm keeping you on your toes. Thank you for counting, though. I'm impressed that you can almost get to 5. All right, so
I can get to 1 very easily.
Wow. Do they wrap the PhD around that? All right, so Melcher Street double dry hopped IPA. I wrote down fantastic, great presentation of mosaic, kind of orange peel, and a bit of a sweet grapefruit. Now, that's kind of an oxymoron, but there are varieties of grapefruit that have kind of a bit of a sweet presentation, and as well as that very pronounced bitterness. This is all part of the Street series. And actually, my very favorite beer from Trillium that is not here is in the Street series, which is Congress Street. That is just a freaking amazing beer.
Finally, a Congress that does something good.
Yeah. Yeah. They could actually get something accomplished with that beer. But the Melcher Street is a solid 4 for me. The last beer in my top 3 out of this flight is from the very recent Dalden series. So we actually have 2 renditions in today's flight, and the one that I really liked is the Dalden Double IPA brewed with Pinot Gris juice. So, when I first heard about this series, I was like, Now, we've had beer that have been dropped in a wide variety of wine barrels, Chardonnay barrels, different red wine barrels, Merlot, Pinot Noir. I mean, it's been a wide variety of things. But this is the first time I've heard somebody actually using and blending grape juice into a beer. And I was really intrigued. I'm like, this is either going to be really good or it's going to suck. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the main thing I wrote down about both of the Dalden series was that the wine has actually tamed a lot of the bitterness around the hops that they have used in the Dalden series, and these have very distinct characteristics, I think, between them that the wines tend to bring to them as well. But this is, I think it's a wonderful idea. I'm not really quite sure why nobody else thought of it up until now. And not only have they done it, I think they've done it very well. The one with the Pinot Gris, to me, is a solid 4 all the way. Really great beer.
Pinot Gris.
Yes.
Didn't taste all that greasy to me.
Are you still waving that that IQ?
We're number 1.
As he's holding up 2 fingers.
Yeah.
Mirror
for
images.
You, 1 for Kendall.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Gosh.
All right. Speaking of which, good old boy Kendall, why don't you tell us what you liked in this flight?
Get a little repetition. Some of these guys. My favorite beer of the flight was the Melcher.
You're not going to say it right.
Melcher.
Well, however we're saying it.
Melcher.
Melcher Street. So I just love the juiciness of this beer. When I think of New England IPAs, I think very hop forward, bright, tropical, juicy, probably cloudy, and this fits the bill. I just get huge tropical, little citrusy melon aromas out of it, and they carry through the flavor. Very clean, tropical. The bitterness was super gentle. It was there. I mean, you've got to have some bitterness in an IPA, especially a double IPA. Or no, this is the regular double dry hopped. But I just thought this was juicy, delicious, and it was a 5 for me.
Yeah. Oh, is this the one? Did you dial it in yet?
No, I didn't.
Well, I had a story.
Did you doze off?
I will get.
No, I didn't. I didn't think you did.
My second beer.
I
is
run on
the,
Duncan.
Somebody wake up Grandpa. He fell asleep during Kendall's.
Let me put my teeth in.
Summer Street. Now, Dave and Mike both like this beer, and I got something a little different from it. Dave even said it was a great New England IPA.
Did you get a Hama?
And to me, I wrote a Northwest on this.
Oh.
I got some of that resiny, piney, almost dankness that you really
dank. Yes, no pine.
No, I got a lot of resin out of it that you don't normally get in a New England IPA.
Yeah.
And it's not like San Diego West Coast. It's very a lot more citrusy, tropical, but with that resiny that I find common in some of the Northwest IPAs out of like Oregon and Washington. So I found some similar flavors there. But otherwise, just great, refreshing, and I like the bitterness of it. To me, this had one of the most prominent bitterness, and it's a solid 4.
Nice.
My third beer is the dialed in, but not the one good old boy Mike just told us about. The other one with the Chardonnay and the grape I can't pronounce juice.
Gewurtztraminer. I'll tell my story after you finish your.
Actually, I'd love to hear your story right now.
Yeah,
all right,
let's
so
go ahead.
I had we were tasting these beers at my house, and I had a relative that came over, and she was. We were sitting there tasting the beer. She said, "What are you guys having?" I said, well, "We're having this beer that has a touch of Chardonnay as well as Gewürztraminer wine." She says, "Oh, you mean the dog?" I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Yeah." She says, "It's right here on the label. There's a dog that's called a Gewürztraminer dog. It's just like that." And I'm like, No. I'm sorry. The wine geek in the room says, it's just not happening. I mean, there's just no freaking way. There
are no wieners in this beer.
So I'm like, maybe you're getting it confused with a dachshund. No. And I'm like, what does a Gewürztraminer dog look like? Crickets. Yeah. Nobody was at home. I'm not going to say this relative's name because I would hate to embarrass her, even though we were all laughing so hard. I'm like, look, I will bet you $50 that there is no such thing as a Gewürztraminer dog. I'm quite certain of this. And I'm like, go ahead, ask Google. I will sit here, And sure enough, they all got their phones out and they're searching, incessantly. I'm just sitting there drinking beer, and I'm like, and then like 2 minutes later, she looks at me and she goes,
Dum, dum, dum.
"There's no Gewürztraminer dog." And I'm like, you know what? The only thing that I want to hear out of you is, "You're right, Mike." Yeah, that's correct. There you go, as payment. So I've really had a lot of fun harassing her, about that and going, yeah, those Gewürztraminer dogs are going to come around any time now. So.
Well, that's one thing you won this weekend, so that's pretty good.
He's been sitting on that for at least, 5 minutes?
Yeah. Wait, no.
I got something else you can sit on. Go ahead.
So let me keep talking about this dog beer we've got here. So what I love about the Dialed In, I've actually had the Pinot Gris before, and I do enjoy that beer, but I think this one stood out to me just by... I just got a lot of orange and lemon and pineapple just bursting through, but I think the wine added some fullness to the beer that carries through, even lingers in the finish. It adds a richness to the beer that I really like. And I also think that both of these beers kind of finish on the dry end. Like, I don't know what kind of sugars are in the wine juice, I'm sure they're different than the maltose coming from the barley, and I have a feeling the yeast just goes crazy on that stuff because it finishes. It feels very kind of dry.
Well, there's a lot of sugars, in Chardonnay wine, and I'm thinking that was probably a real key distinctive, aspect. That probably I'm betting that one took longer to ferment out just because it had a lot more residual sugar.
Yeah, so and you kind of get that in the middle, that there's that a little bit of sweetness and it just fades real fast and ends in a nice dry finish, and that's why I like this beer. It's a 4 for me.
So, Mike, what does gewurztraminer wine taste like?
It's a dry white wine, usually in Germany. Is usually the originating grape from where that started. It's grown in some other regions of the world as well. Mm-hmm. New Zealand, I think, actually produces some gewurztraminer now. Italy, there are some areas, the northern part of Italy, where they actually, I think they grow that wine. But it was interesting they chose a blend of wines in between, something that was very dry and something that was very sweet and buttery. Mm-hmm. When I heard they put Chardonnay juice in a beer, I was like, ooh, just kind of shuddered about that. But I really enjoy what they did with this. Really, and, I actually had the same exact rating as Kendall did. I had a solid 4 for this as well.
Yeah, it was fantastic beer.
I did too.
And I almost had a 4th, but I'm not going to go there because Julieanna's going to take care of that for me.
Mm. Well, it'll be interesting if they make any more of this.
It'd be a good, I was going to say if they keep doing this series.
I think they will. I think they're having a lot of fun playing around with it, and I look forward to whatever they're going to do.
It's not just the
we'll be back in just a minute.
But baby, the whole elation running down this lover's avenue. As slow as a willow blows, or as fast as the whirlwind grows, we glide beneath the stars in cobalt blue. Look to the left, to the right, keep your eyes on the road, my darling, wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows, my hand is yours forever, sweet love. Our eyes ahead on these back roads with a view.
I'm sensing it.
So you're saying that Dave was the loser, right? Is that what you're saying?
She always says that.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're back on.
We're back on the air. Hi, everyone. We are in the midst of a wonderful brewery takeover today.
We are a grudge match.
That's the other end of the table. We are talking about many beers from Trillium Brewing Company in Massachusetts. So yay to the New England beers. And now we're going to get to me.
About freaking time.
Thank you. I was just going to say that myself.
Well, I'd like to thank all the co-hosts. It's been a great episode, and so...
Take it away in your top 3. Number 6.
I got a number 2. Whatever. Okay. The first one I wanted to talk about, since I'm kind of surprised that you guys aren't talking about it, but whatever, is Cutting Tiles. It's a double IPA with mosaic hops and raw wildflower honey. It's, of course, a yummy double IPA sitting at 8.5%, and it's part of an exploratory series of double IPAs featuring a range of aromatic single hop varietals brewed with raw wildflower honey. And this new version is dosed with 100% mosaic, which mosaic is one of my favorite ones. It's very near and dear to my heart. But besides it just being with that, it is... I love this beer. I've had it a couple of times now, and every time I distinctively just want to run to it. I love the hop profile on it. I love the creaminess, and I love that hint of honey too, which just that touch of sweetness, kind of like.
Myself to Tom Brady.
I knew that was going to happen. Darn you and those buttons there, buddy. Anyways, it's a really beautiful, creamy, yummy, hoppy double IPA. And it's one that'll sneak up on you because it doesn't feel like a double IPA. I'm giving this one a 5.
Wow.
I like that beer. I like it more as it warmed up, but when I first had it, the honey and the mosaic were not. It didn't feel like they combined.
I actually wrote down a bit of a mess.
I'm with you guys. This was near the bottom of my list. I didn't think the honey worked well with the hops.
Yeah.
One quick note: when I was talking with some of the other locals, they were raving about this beer and the fact that it became available. That was probably the longest line that I saw ever at Trillium over multiple trips. Was people actually waiting to pick up cutting towels? So.
Nice.
This has a very loyal following for
See,
people
us
that
Northerners, we stick together.
You don't run on Duncan. No.
Wow.
I might. At times.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, instant Hama.
Yeah, there you go.
No. Not that far north. Anyways.
Wow.
Wait a minute.
Oh, man.
There's a lot of ways that could go.
I know, and I was
what's the
thinking
name of this
something
episode going to
completely
be?
different than
the
you guys.
deplorable Northeastern beers.
The title of this episode will be The Last Episode Ever.
All right, fine. The
One
second
that got us banned.
Freaking Tom Brady.
Banned once again.
There we go.
True. The second one that I wanted to talk about is one that Mike has already mentioned, and it's the Dialed In with the Pinot Gris. When I saw it on the can, I thought, what in God's name is he bringing us? I mean, obviously it's Trillium, so it's got to be good, but it
Is
just
that
seemed...
the same reaction you have to most everything that I bring, or is it just this particular
What the
beer?
hell is this?
No, just this one and the Chardonnay. Because I'm thinking, how in the heck is this going to fly?
I know. I had the same reaction when they said...
But this is stunning. Absolutely stunning. And even as it's warming up, it's changing its dynamic, and there's so much more complexity now than there was before. But talk about like a creaminess with a dry finish. I think that it's just really amazing. And I give this a 5. And then last, but certainly not least.
Bum, bum, bum. Is she going to stick to 3 today? That'd be weird.
Wow. What's up with that?
It's because you guys have already talked about all the other ones. Whatever. Oh, well, almost all the other ones. Okay, so this one I love for many reasons. First of all, for those sad people that continue to listen to the show, they know that I like stouts and porters and all things dark. Well, I'm just saying.
People who have absolutely nothing going on in their lives except to listen to this. I mean,
no, it's just... Whatever. Anyways, they know that I'm the oddball out, and I always like the darker beers.
as a side note, good old gal Julieanna is available to give motivational speeches to any group.
I like this picture of this little Filipino guy in southern New Mexico going, I like her very much. She's going to talk about the porter. I love it.
One fan. At
know,
least
yes.
one.
The one
okay?
Filipino
yeah,
guy in
like
South Mexico.
I like a Kurobo. Julieanna, very good, yes.
Yes, I know. In a world of IPAs, there's me.
She's a
Okay.
porter.
He's not wearing the big sombrero. He's like a normal Filipino dude in South New Mexico.
South of New Mexico. I'm sorry, I thought you said South Mexico. Well, that's different.
I know, yeah.
Same difference, sort of. Anyways, what I really... Okay, so A, I liked it because it's a dark beer. But B, I also liked it because, I mean, Trillium obviously is known for their hoppy beers. And this is not that. And it's so flipping good. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's the Pot and Kettle, their oatmeal porter. And this thing, well done. Well done. I mean, it's roasty. It's just creamy enough because it's not a stout, so it is a little bit lighter. But the roastiness, the maltiness is there. It's so full bodied for it being a porter, if that makes any sense. And
that was full bodied. That was a belch of agreement.
I agree with you, Julieanna. This was my number 4, and it's a really, really good porter.
It's actually kind of a nice palate cleanser for some of those IPAs.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Anyways, I really liked it, and I'm giving it a 4.
Yay.
So I actually sat around and tried this with some more people, and I think we probably had maybe 2 of these other beers at the same time we had this. I think this is one of the beers they've made for quite a while. I think they've made this almost for 4 years. So I think it's a regular part of either rotating seasonal or something that they make, quite frequently. I think I just had a problem with the style, and I think I got wrapped in my head that this should taste closer to an oatmeal stout, which I know is dead wrong. And I just don't think that I've had enough of an English porter style. I think I had in my head, that Sam Smith, style of English, roasted, beers flowing through my head that it just did not work for me.
Came across as too sweet for you?
Well, I think watery was the key word that I wrote down. And so that was probably the one distinctive characteristic. But looking back at it, and if I unscrew everything that I tasted around this and actually pay attention to the fact that I'm tasting a declared English porter, that's the key part here.
Yeah, as opposed to a stout.
As opposed to a stout, and just thinking that it's an American style, oatmeal porter, which to me would have had a lot more roast and a lot more body around it. Mm-hmm. The key word that I always use having a really great porter is it a Tootsie Roll? Because to me, that is the flavor profile for a diehard American porter. It should just ring all the bells of just a fabulous Tootsie Roll all the way. We had one, actually yesterday, didn't we?
It was delicious.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get to talk about Von Theoretical's Rock Island Porter someday. But yeah, that was the one thing I just felt like all the flavor profile was incredibly subdued, but it's an English porter, and I think that's spot on. So,
all right.
Why?
You want some watery English crap? This is your beer.
Hey, it's not that watery, though.
No, and I got the chocolate out of it. That's the first thing I noticed. In the nose.
I was doing so good right up to that point, right, Dave?
Yep. Mike's not invited to England anymore.
No, you're not. You're right.
So smooth.
No, it is creamy. I mean, and it's not Tootsie Rollness, but I don't expect Tootsie Rollness out of an English porter.
No.
So there, buddy.
Tough guy.
Not so tough now. Okay, so next. Who's left?
Well, so there was one beer we didn't talk about, which was Scale today. And so I was kind of, why didn't we even put that in our top 3? I'm looking at my own tasting notes, and it's pretty obvious. I was not a fan of this hop blend. This is a beer I know that they have transitioned from being usually bottled, and they've actually moved it into their canning line fairly recently. I'm just not a fan of El Dorado. It's just not a hop profile that I particularly enjoy. It's very earthy, and I really think it clashes. When you drop Citra on top of it, it's just... You're just dragging basically a lemon, peel basically through the ground and then shoving it in your mouth. And I just don't particularly, I just don't think those taste profiles complement each other.
Be in advertising. That
kind of like a dirty lemon peel.
Yeah. Come to El Dorado, yes.
You're like a dirty lemon in your mouth.
Oh, yes. I hear the Spanish music playing in the background. So.
Well, but interestingly though, because didn't the dialed in with the Pinot Gris, didn't that have El Dorado as well?
It did, but the but the wine, really tempered a lot of the earthiness, around, and that did catch my attention as well. And I was like, which one of these things don't belong? And I saw that on the hop profile, but it's definitely way there in the background. And it's actually providing what I tend to think of with a presentation of wine is there is some element of terroir or an earthiness usually that is, present. And I realized the wine was not bringing that, and it was probably the El Dorado hop that was probably bringing that around.
So what rating did you give scaled?
3. So why didn't you put it in your top 3?
I thought it was
because we were both right there in the loser lounge.
Well, I also gave the beer a 3, but kind of for a different reasoning. I actually kind of like the beer. I got just a lot of tropical, orange, citrus. Those lemony notes are huge. It had a super light malt body to it, so it really let the hops shine through. They're the most prominent thing. It was dry. There was a light bitterness to it. And as an IPA goes, it's hard to believe it was 7%. Because to me, it tasted like some of the session IPAs on the market, but it does not taste like it's 7%.
So this is a
smooth.
Canadian IPA.
Yeah. It's kind of an imperial session IPA.
Rate. See, I wasn't going to say it's English because it's not watery. It's just weak, so it's Canadian.
Yeah, but it really did. It tasted kind of light, and
once again,
the flavors I got from it are all good, but there was nothing that really made it shine as far as standing out or being unique.
Yeah.
It tastes like a lot of other things on the market that are out there competing for everyone's attention. And because it just seems like one of the crowd, that's why it was a 3 for me.
Julieanna?
Well, this poor guy, in the flight of everything that we had, he was so normal. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but, compared to all the extraordinary beers that were here, this guy he was normal. And I think to the average Joe, this is a really good beer, but when you compare it in the flight of everything else that we had, with the Melcher Street and the Summer Street, this guy just sort of pales in comparison to me.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean? And it's
I
just
said it
meh.
before, yeah. I think it's the Bobby Brady of the flight, he's there and he's good for what he does, but he doesn't really stand out. He's not.
He's no Greg.
He's no Greg. He's definitely not Greg. Certainly not Marsha.
This is me shaking my head, going, "I'm surrounded by morons."
Yes.
Yeah.
We have condensed our rating discussion down to an episode of the Brady Bunch.
You know what?
Wow.
How many?
You just can't make this stuff.
How many radio shows about beer can bring in the Brady Bunch?
But it's timely, though. We're all mourning Mrs. Brady at
Florence
this
Henderson
moment, but
passed away.
Well, I have to say that this flight that we went through is a fairly typical experience, when you actually go to Trillium itself. And I'm just kind of curious, if you guys sat down and kind of went through this flight and you're thinking about, what would you think of Trillium, and the style of beers are going after, if this was like a typical flight?
I liked all the beers we had. There was not a bad beer in the bunch. Some were...
Everything was super clean.
Yeah, and some are much better than others. Some are spectacular.
Yeah. I always feel like everyone in New England only drinks IPA.
No, definitely not.
No,
well, I know, but
no.
like a lot of the great beers we try, though. I know they're not, but a lot of times when you're trying some of these beers, and maybe it's just the ones that we get, but they're amazing IPAs. But
I think the one thing that strikes me with Trillium, as opposed to some of the other breweries in the area, is the variations in hop profiles that they are producing are substantially more prevalent. Some of the other breweries in the area are producing other varieties of hops, combinations, but the difference is one brewery may be doing 5. Trillium is doing like 30.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah.
And I think if anything, it's reminding me just how complex, enjoying a really great hop profile can be. It's not the same thing for everybody. So
No, it's not. And with them expanding like they have with their hop profiles, I think they're reaching a bigger market and making it more approachable, if you will. You know what I mean? Because not everyone's going to like all the dank hops.
Be glad when they open their Nashville location. Be good.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I like your lobs.
All right. Well, I think that was great stuff from everyone, and we're going to wrap it up for today's Suds episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and you can catch all of our episodes online as well as on SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, PRX, and Spreaker, our native media host. iTunes and our own Android app are the easiest ways to enjoy the show on your phone. Just search for Sip Suds Smokes on iTunes or in the Google Play Store. Be sure to tap to subscribe, and the show will always be on your phone.
We loves your feedback, and you can reach us online anytime at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com.
Our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter every day at Sip Suds and Smokes, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. You'll also be able to interact with the thousands of other fans on those social media platforms.
Do us a favor and take the time to rate this episode if you're listening to us online. It won't really help and we won't get any better, but we do love getting your feedback.
Freaking right.
Hey, Kendall, why don't you tell us about your blog?
My beautiful wife and I blog about the good news of good beer at beermakes3.com. Also, you'll find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Well, I want to thank our hosts for joining in on this great episode today. Good old boy Dave.
How's it feel to be a loser, Mike?
It's freaking awesome. You know, I need to do a bit more Dunkin'. Hey, come back. Keep on sipping, everybody.
Good old boy Kendall.
As always, it was great to be here. Cheers.
Bye, guys. Catch your next episode.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sip Suds and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see y'all next time.